Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita class. We are on chapter 16. Let us start with Mangalacharan prayers. So that's chapter 16, but we will go to introduction and prayers. Okay. Is the screen visible? Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Welcome to the class today. So we will cover chapter 16. We might start chapter 17. Let's see. I have to leave a little bit early today, around 6:45. So we'll see how far we can go. We'll definitely cover chapter 16. We'll see if we can get to 17. Okay. So today's chapter 16 is an extremely practical chapter, full of practical instructions and in a sort of a negative way, what not to do. I work at Intel, and one of the previous CEOs of Intel said that, you need to have mentors. You need to have positive mentors and you need to have negative mentors. So I was wondering, I've never heard this term positive mentors and negative mentors. So he said, those mentors who tell you what to do, or those mentors you want to sort of emulate or follow, and those who you should not follow. I was thinking like, how can I have a mentor who I do not want to follow? So then he clarified that those negative mentors are not somebody you have a relationship, like you establish a relationship. Hey, you're somebody I don't want to follow. You just observe them from a distance. You kind of see what, behavior they are exhibiting that should not be exhibited. And you learn from their mistakes. And you learn from their bad behavior or behavior that is not something that is appreciated. So in this chapter, as you can see, am I sharing the screen? No. Is the screen, wait. Are you seeing the PowerPoint screen, chapter 16? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Great, thanks. So in this chapter, divine and demoniac natures, Daiva Asura Sampada Vibhaga Yoga. So the behavior or the nature of Daiva, which means divine or good people, and Asura, which means demoniac people. Vibhag, or the division, or the analysis of their nature. So it's a very, very important chapter, very practical chapter. Why is it a important chapter? So what the theme of the chapter, or what we should focus on in this chapter, is I'll focus on these last two lines, or this line, a vivid description of demoniac nature. So there is a very deep description, again, not extremely deep. You will find more deeper understanding of demoniac nature through actual examples in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So many examples of demons are there, and I will explain, or I will talk about some of those today. But those are our negative mentors. Those are the ones we should see, we should try to see ourselves. Here I put it in a more polite language. Try to see your blind spots in the demoniac nature. I could have said, try to see yourself in them. We all have. Now, I'm not saying we are demons. Nobody here is a Hiranyakashipu or a Ravana. But we have those tendencies from time to time. At some times it is more predominant, at some times it is less. But everyone, almost, there may be some people who are very, very good by nature, but many people, at least, for sometimes, they get carried away and demonstrate such behavior. And some people are demonstrating that behavior quite a lot. I'm sure you have such people, or you have come across such people in your life. But this is not about them. This is about you. Okay, so see where you are. Bhagavad Gita is for application on ourselves, not for on others. So the first point is to identify ourselves, and how strongly Lord Krishna is talking about the fact that demoniac qualities debilitate Krishna Bhakti. Demoniac qualities and progress in Krishna Bhakti just cannot go together, simply cannot. Okay. Some people give an example of Valmiki. Before becoming Valmiki Rishi, he was a hunter. But he was reformed very almost instantly. So people take those kind of examples and give that, oh, one day I will also just completely flip the switch and get reformed. Remember, Narad Muni had to come and touch him, give him instruction. And then by the power of such a great devotee like Narad Muni, one could get completely reformed. One should not hope that Narad Muni will come in our life. Okay, by my teaching you Bhagavad Gita on Zoom, I am no Narad Muni. Okay, so, or, even Srila Prabhupada, you read his book 100 times, you have to put in your effort. It will not have the Narad Muni effect. So don't wait for the Valmiki moment in your life. We have to put effort from our side. So demoniac qualities really debilitate Krishna Bhakti. On the other hand, good qualities very strongly support Krishna Bhakti. Good qualities, again, this one I will say, we have said so many times, good qualities are also material. Okay, so one can be a very good person, but be completely zero in Krishna Bhakti. So yes, he will get higher planets. He may get a better life next time. Those are just sweet fruits because he has sown sweet seeds. So he will enjoy the sweet fruits, and kshine punye martyalokam vishanti. We have discussed all of that in so many chapters. The point is, good qualities are not equal to Krishna Bhakti. Is that clear? But they support Krishna Bhakti. All right. Like going to the airport is not equal to taking the flight, but going to the airport supports taking the flight. By going to the airport, you are in the best position to take the flight. So don't stay in the airport, take the flight. So don't stay in good qualities, do Krishna Bhakti activities. So that's what is the sort of the main essence of this chapter, is to very clearly understand the negative side. And that is what the most of the chapter will be spent on. And finally, how do we know what is good and what is bad? It is coming from Shastra. Shastra is the singular is the most fundamental authoritative source of what is to be done and what is to be avoided. So Shastra tells us what is good and bad. Otherwise, we can have endless debate. Today in this country, there is endless debate on good and bad. And there is nothing good or bad. You can say, one side will say abortion is okay. One side will say abortion is bad. One side will say, I don't know, guns are good. One side will say guns are bad. Now we can say US Constitution, Second Amendment. That's our Bhagavad Gita. But that is also written by human beings. So here, that is why, yes, finally you have to resort to some document. So here we are resorting to the document being spoken by Krishna himself, Shastras. So Shastras are the final word in case of any doubts, any clarifications, and always the doubts occur in the most subtle scenarios. Okay. Obviously, a person who is a terrorist, a known terrorist, nobody will disagree that he should not be given a gun. But gun control is such a, in the US, I'm taking a modern example, such a, subtle topic. There are very good reasons for people to allow to have guns. There are very good reasons on the other side, and therefore it's a complex problem. Otherwise, if you take extreme situations, it's very easy to resolve. But it's the complex, it's the, those things, and Shastra completely clarifies one way versus the other. So we must have good understanding of Shastra. So all these points will be covered in detail in the 16th chapter. All right. So I would again like all of you to have your book in front of you, because we will go through the book and we will cover the verses. So 3 verses, 1, 2, and 3, they are covered together. And maybe, we can, I'll just go over some important aspects. So what Lord Krishna is starting by in this chapter is by describing the good qualities. And Lord Krishna has taken 26 good qualities, the most important good qualities that are mentioned. So this is a very, very good compilation of good qualities in the entire Bhagavad Gita. In one of the subsequent slides, Lord Krishna has talked about good qualities at many places. I have put all of those together, all those various places where good qualities are talked in one single slide. I have put it. You can take a screenshot or it will be there. But this 16th chapter is the best one among all of those. So please pay attention. I have listed some of them which I feel are very important, or which kind of I resonate with. So I have put a few. We don't have time to go through all 26. As I have said here, Srila Prabhupada has written a very, very long and nice purport. Please read the purport. The most important thing is you have to sincerely try to develop these qualities, very sincerely. Don't think, oh, Bhagavad Gita, don't shove it under the rug. Developing these, I'm sorry to say that, but I have seen many, and I'm no judge, but for purposes of a class, sitting here on a platform and giving a class, I have to say that there are people I observe where I see lack of these qualities. And such people will remain stuck in their bhakti, in their progress. They are making slow progress, very slow. Obviously, doing act of bhakti, Krishna Bhakti is itself very good. It will very slowly chip into their bad qualities, very slowly. So the progress will be slow. So one must earnestly try to develop these good qualities and remove the bad ones, which will come next, later in the later verses. So some of these are, very obvious. Wait, what's going on? Yeah. So dana means acts of charity, very important. Swadhyaya, extremely important. You have to, even after the Bhagavad Gita class is over, don't stop your study of Shastra, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. These are the two topmost Shastra to study. Do not give them up. Okay. So Swadhyaya, spending time every day on a consistent basis, or every week, maybe on a weekend. But You must spend time in your swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means swa adhyaya, self-study of Shastra. This is not self-study of JavaScript or, learning the latest programming language to get a new job. This is Swadhyaya of Shastra. Arjavam, this is my favorite one, simplicity. One must develop simplicity. No duplicity, no, how to get ahead. Be a very simple person. It softens your heart. Maybe somebody will, take advantage of you. It's okay. It's okay if somebody takes advantage. Nobody will be able to take advantage of you in your Krishna Bhakti progress. Your progress of Krishna Bhakti will accelerate more. Let people take some material advantage. That is okay. Do not sacrifice your being taken advantage of. Then you will become more calculative. How to protect myself, how to defend myself. You'll always be on the lookout. Your bandwidth will be on looking out for people to not take advantage. That bandwidth which you could have used in Krishna Bhakti. That consciousness, that mindfulness to protect yourself. Let yourself be vulnerable a little bit. Of course, it doesn't mean, give your bank password to everyone. I'm not saying that. But don't be excessively, I have to, be the smartest guy in the lot. No need. Be simple. Ahimsa, very straightforward. Okay, very important. Satyam, truthfulness. Akrodha, the opposite of krodha. Krodha is not helpful. Everybody who, it's just not helpful. Many people who do krodha later on, they themselves very quickly realize, oh, why did I shout? Why did I get angry? So, and it for that moment, for that period, it spoils your consciousness. Then these two I will club together, tyaga and aloluptvam. Aloluptvam means too much laulya means greed. Aloluptvam means aversion or freedom from greed. Tyaga is also very similar. Tyaga means giving up things that you have, useless things you don't need. Aloluptvam means not trying to acquire new things that you don't need. Okay? So there is a subtle difference. It's not that Krishna is repeating. Tyaga means to give up. So if you have something which you haven't used, but it is just occupying space, how many people have things in their house that they have never used or used once or twice at most, and that too only because you bought it? Now you must use it to feel good. Completely useless things. And the second point is aloluptvam. There are 3 questions you should ask before you buy anything or get anything. Always try. I have been doing this in my life and it's super helpful. First question, do I need this? Okay. Then take a pause if the answer is no. Second question, do I really need this? If the answer is no, take a pause. Then after some time, ask the third question, do I really, really need this? If the answer is yes, get it. But if the answer is 3 times in a row, don't. Just don't. And you will only be able to say no once you remember this verse, that it could be an impediment in my Krishna Bhakti. You have to understand what is the cost you are paying. It's not just the cost of that object that you will part with your money. You will part with your energy, your mental bandwidth, your consciousness, your investment of time in that, whatever you are buying. All of those things, energy, time, consciousness, mind, bandwidth, that could have been put into Krishna Bhakti. And that also leads to simplicity. Apaishunam means fault finding, criticism, or avoiding fault finding. Nobody has given you the certificate of a society cleaner. Is anybody here a certified society cleaner? I'm not talking about street cleaner. Okay, but it is equivalent to that. Jamadar in Hindi we say. Janitor. So nobody has appointed us to be the society cleaner. Leave people on their own. Now, there are some people who are officially in your care, your children, maybe, your whoever, your family members. Yes, you are supposed to correct them. You cannot just say, if my child is doing XYZ, I will let him do it. But there you have to correct. But you are not a society cleaner. So no fault finding at all, even for their benefit. Why? Why you have to do that? And most people do fault finding for rasa, for juice, for their pleasure. It's called backbiting and this and that, or whatever. Not backbiting, peeth piche bolna. What is the English for that? I don't know. Criticizing or whatever, just gossip. So no need for that. And then daya means compassion. Kshama means forgiveness. These are all very important points. Each one we can talk about 1 hour on this to clearly understand what is forgiveness. And ati manita means that too much desire for fame and honor. So avoid that. So these are just some of them. I don't know how many. 6 plus 6, 12 out of 26. Not even half. So please look at these and try to spend some time contemplating. There are so many commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Try to see what various acharyas have written about these qualities. Try to learn from them. No point in learning from modern people. They will talk about material level, how to get materially ahead. By these the qualities will be the same, but the agenda will be how to get materially ahead. And that is where the negativity will creep in. So don't read modern books unless they are written with a very pure heart. If the modern books are teaching how to get ahead in life by developing these qualities, there is sure to be some kind of corruption in that. So you must read books which are written with no material agenda. Simply an agenda for your own spiritual progress, because the purpose of developing these qualities is spiritual progress, not material progress. Okay. Okay, so that was 16.1 to 16.3. Then Lord Krishna describes 6 demoniac qualities. Now, these are just very indicative or very broad, but try to avoid these at all costs. At all costs. These are just suckers. They will sap. They will just completely deplete your energy or your progress in Krishna Bhakti. Dambha, Darpa, Abhiman. These are very similar words. I will just very quickly explain the difference between them. Very subtle but important difference. Dambha means pretense. It is Abhiman or pride, but about something that you don't even have. Okay. So you just go and, just what do you call? In English, we say you're BSing about something. Oh, I have this, I have that. My dad was a, minister in the ministry, even though he was just a, clerk, maybe. He was a big minister. He was this. You can keep saying all those things. So basically, trying to appear big, where with no qualification. Darpa is also pride, but in this case, you go beyond your means to prove. Like, somebody, may buy a very big house beyond his means. Then he is struggling to pay the mortgage. Somehow or the other, he bought a house to show his status. I have a big house or big car or whatever, big. or they will throw a huge party, or they will go to vacation in a very, lavish place with their friends or whatever. But after coming back, they will realize how much debt they are in. So that is also a form of pride, but for what? For no reason. And abhiman is just simple pride about things that you do have. Just show off, just plain simple show off of things that you possess. So much abhiman, so much, how much money you have, what college degree you have, which college you went to, where do you work, what is your title, all those things. Some people I have seen, every sentence or every new person they will meet, if they have something, let's say they are some title of some title in their company, somehow or the other, they will very quickly, in the first 3 minutes itself, they will inject, I am so and so. Somehow or the other, completely unrelated. I have seen, within first 3 minutes, somehow they will show, I am so and so. Just even if the conversation was completely different, somehow it will get injected just to show I am such a big guy. So that is abhiman. Yes, they are a big guy. They have actually the title. It's not that they are lying. That would have been dambha. That you are a clerk, but you are saying you are a minister. So, but they are a minister, but they make it a point to tell everybody. Or to tell the whole, like, somewhere someone had a Honda and a BMW, and he had a one-car garage. Typically, you would imagine that person would put the BMW in the garage and the Honda outside, isn't it? Because you care for your expensive car more. No, he would keep the BMW outside and Honda inside, so that everybody in the whole neighborhood can see what car he has. So all that is there. Then krodha, that is obvious. Parushyam, harshness of speech. And finally, ajnana, ignorance. Ignorance about so many things, but most importantly, ignorance. Can anybody tell me ignorance about what? I want 3-4 people to think and tell ignorance. So yes, ignorance, I'm not talking about ignorance about, okay, that we should not do this. Okay, now you know ignorance.
Ignorance of the knowledge of spiritual knowledge.
Okay, I'm talking a little bit of at a more common sense level. But anyway, go ahead. Anybody else?
Like not knowing how our actions are affecting the other person, maybe.
Okay. Anybody else? Ignorance about what?
Ignorance about what we don't know.
Okay, but now you know, let us say now somebody knows. So it's not in the don't know domain. Yes, that is the most dangerous. But the things we are talking here are not in the don't know domain. That's a good point. I want to make it clear. Because these are all the things people do to you and you don't like it. All right? And therefore, everybody knows I shouldn't do it to others. It's not something that you don't know that you don't know. Are you following? Because then you cannot do anything about it. It's you don't even know that you don't know it, or that you don't even know it's a bad thing to do. Then you tell them, okay, fine. You must not do this. Now you know. Now you have come from the don't know that it's wrong to I know that it's wrong. But all these things are for 99.9999%, unless somebody is living under a rock or is a Robinson Crusoe, which means like he's living alone for his whole life, is not living in society. They all know what are the bad qualities because everybody does those things to them and they don't like it. Therefore, it's very obvious that I should not do it to others, but they still do it. So they don't do those things to others out of ignorance of knowing that it is bad. So ignorance about what? One or two more people? Of course, it is ignorance about knowledge, ignorance about Shastra. But within that, ignorance about what from the Shastra? Okay, so let me tell. So
Ignorance
somebody,
about Bhagwan.
ignorance about Bhagwan.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Yes. Somebody raised their hand.
Maybe not respecting the elders and
Elders. Okay. All right.
Ignorance about significance of Krishna Bhakti.
Significance of Krishna Bhakti. Okay, fine. Yes. Shamlila Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, ignorance about our relationship with Bhagwan and each other.
Okay. Okay, fine. There's a more fundamental ignorance at a common sense level. Yes, all those answers are correct. But at a fundamental level, I feel, again, this is me saying to you, it's ignorance about the consequences, about the cost that we are paying. And that cost that we are paying is true in all those cases. Like, then we don't get to connect with Krishna at a deep level. That's a loss. So that's a consequence. Ignorance about, the fact that the other person is getting hurt. So, but and there is some cost to us. Ultimately, there is some cost to us. So it is highly personal. It's about me. Fundamentally, it's about me. I don't want, when you realize that what cost I am paying for doing this sinful activity, then one stops doing that activity. Many people, for example, who consume meat products or animal products, when they realize in the next life, the role is going to be reversed. That's the cost. So many people have come and told me that is what inspired me to give it up. Because I don't want to be in the opposite situation in my next life. And of course, the fact that there is a next life comes from Shastra. That's the spiritual angle. But ultimately, it is the consequence. So one must understand the consequence. Okay, Bob, of doing the positive things, that yes, it propels, it supports my Krishna Bhakti. And this, how it completely not only impacts my Krishna Bhakti, but will cause me to suffer dearly in the future. And that will be coming up in the next few verses. So try to avoid these at all costs. And it comes right here. Oh, how to start. Why did that come? I don't know why. Maybe it's a copy paste error. So forget the title, how to start. But anyway, so in 16.5 and 16.6, Lord Krishna is saying that the transcendental qualities, I'm reading the translation of 16.5 and 6. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demonic qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities. And number 16.6 says, O son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called the divine and the other demoniac. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me about the demoniac. So in the 5th verse, 16.5, Lord Krishna is saying this, that these divine qualities, what I have written here as sattvik or mode of goodness qualities, are very conducive to Krishna Bhakti. That is why we should develop them. That's the real reason, not so that our present life is good. Of course, that will be good. By developing good qualities, your present life will become good. But also it will create the most ripe place. It will create the most fertile soil from where Krishna Bhakti can come or will sprout and will flourish. And demoniac qualities lead to downgraded forms of life. And we will see this in the coming few verses. So Lord Krishna says that I have told you already about all the good qualities. So here is a list of all Bhagavad Gita references where you can find good qualities. It's a mix of good and transcendental. So there you have to do some differentiation. 16th chapter, for example, is talking about good qualities at a material level. Then there are chapters like, for example, 14th chapter, 22 to 25, 18th chapter, 51 to 53, and so on, are talking about transcendental qualities, which means those that transcend goodness. where not only here, if you will see, one should not expect honor. Amanita, we said. There in the transcendental qualities, it will be that one is not happy on receiving honor, one is not sad on receiving dishonor. So one completely transcends the whole concept of honor and dishonor itself. Okay, so that's the difference between material and transcendental. But this is a sort of a pretty, comprehensive list of all such qualities in Bhagavad Gita. You can, focus on these throughout your journey of spiritual progress. So then Lord Krishna says in 16.6 that I have talked about all these quite a lot before, the good qualities. Let me focus on the bad ones. Let me focus on the negative mentors. You following? So the rest of this chapter is all about negative mentors, or negative, the kind of qualities which we should not develop. So 6 qualities have already been mentioned, but now Lord Krishna will give a more vivid description, a more sort of a detailed description. And what you should do is to see yourself in it, not to see, or you should find yourself in it. Have you done or been such a person at some point in the past? And see how you should improve and try to get rid of such mentality, of such attitude. I'll tell you very clearly, I should have probably put it in bold font in one of the slides. Your Krishna Bhakti depends on your attitude. Your Krishna Bhakti, absolutely, the one fundamental thing. Of course, it depends on a lot of activities of Krishna Bhakti like Shravanam and Kirtanam, but those fundamentally come from your attitude. You cannot be a laid back, lazy, passive bhakta and expect to make progress. So the attitude has to be a attitude of sincerity and seriousness. This is a very, very important aspect of my life. This human life I have got, I absolutely must make good use of it. Absolutely, must make good use of it. Okay. A very, very inspiring way to think about it, which I use often, is imagine when you are very old, very, very old, and that time you cannot do all these activities of bhakti. And then you imagine yourself, 30, 40, 50 years ago, what all you could have done. That 30, 40 years ago is you right now. I'm just trying to fast forward and then bring you back, so to say, into the past, which is your present. Are you following? Today, you are all healthy, you're all good, you're all very capable. Don't let it come down to your last moment and regret that I wasted my time today. It will be a very, very regretful situation. You will, in the last moments, you will realize that this is the only important use of life. Everything else that you have done is going to be useless. Ultimately, not completely useless. They need to play a supporting role. We talked about Gauna vidhi and mukhya vidhi. So everything else is playing a supporting role. Don't elevate that to be the primary objective of life. Making money, having status is not the primary objective. Yes, you need to have enough money so that you can have a decent, comfortable life, so that you can spend a good, decent amount of time in Krishna Bhakti. So please remember that, otherwise it will be a very, very big waste, and you will realize this in your last moments, and then you cannot rewind. So you have been warned. So demoniac nature. So that is why this chapter is very, very important. So please try to find yourself in it, see yourself in it, develop the attitude of giving up these demoniac qualities, developing good qualities, and going to Krishna Bhakti from there. Those good qualities are very supportive, very conducive to Krishna Bhakti. Like boiling water is conducive to cooking rice. You cannot expect to put rice in cold water and expect it to cook. Just won't. Okay, you put it in boiling water, it will cook nicely. But boiling water is not rice. You cannot drink boiling water. You can eat hot rice. You following? So, this is the point. They have no knowledge of good or bad. So that is the first thing. But even if they have knowledge, they don't know the future consequences. So let us read the verse numbers 7, 8, and why don't you read 7, 8, and 9? Take 1 minute, read 7, 8, 9. Very nice verses. Please read 7, 8, 9. Okay. So they have no knowledge of good or bad. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha. Jana na vidurasuraha. So pravritti and nivritti. Pravritti means what is to be done. Nivritti means what is supposed to not be done or to be avoided. They don't have any knowledge of it. And they don't know what will happen if I do this or that. No knowledge of the consequences. So that is one thing. No knowledge of good or bad, no knowledge of future consequences. They may have knowledge of intermediate consequence. Okay, by doing cheating, I can get more money. Okay, so that is, they know that consequence. If I cheat, I can get more money. So yes, that is a consequence. Or they can think like, oh, I need to cheat in a legal way. Loopholes, we call tax loopholes or whatever it may be. I'm not saying, using the tax laws in a proper way, in a legal way is a wrong thing, but I'm just saying that trying to find out all the loopholes, manipulations, etc., etc., they don't know the future consequences. They may know the intermediate consequences, but not the ultimate consequence. And one thing that they do, cancel God. Oh, God doesn't exist. Now, once God doesn't exist, all future consequences, long-term consequences go out of the window, because God is the ultimate enforcer of those consequences. Who enforces consequences? God enforces consequences. Ultimately, government cannot enforce all kind of consequences. Government is not omniscient. So many murders take place. Recently there is so much news about some serial killer who was caught after 30 years or something, whatever. So he was roaming free for 20 years or something. So government doesn't have eyes everywhere. Okay, fine. Sometimes, once in a while, you can catch a killer. These days, I heard that that Lake Mead or some lake is getting, the water levels are going low. So many skeletons are being found in the base of the lake. They are the missing people. So many people were killed and they were thrown in the lake, and there was no killer who was caught. And I'm not just saying killing is the one of the heinous crimes, but so many crimes people do, government cannot catch everyone. The ultimate enforcer is Bhagavan. And once you cancel Bhagavan, Bhagavan doesn't exist. Now you have a free reign. You have a license to kill, so to say, license to kill, or license to completely act in self-interest, even at the cost of exploiting or harming others. So that is the first thing they do. Oh, there is no God, which means there are no consequences. As long as I can avoid the consequences of the police, I am an honest man. They say the cheat or whatever, the thief is only the one who gets caught. That is true, But guess what? In Bhagavan's eyes, you can never escape. You will always be caught. So that is, this is sort of the attitude. I was talking about attitude. This is the attitude of the demoniac people. Does this sound familiar? Okay. So that is what is being, in essence, what is being talked about in these 3 verses. Please read these verses carefully. Read the purports by Srila Prabhupada. Read purports by other Vaishnava Acharyas. Try to get a very good understanding of how demoniac attitude works. And try to find yourself in it. I will keep saying this. Try to find yourself in it. You will do yourself a lot of good. Then we go to the next 11 verses, 10 to 20. We'll go through it more slowly, but it's a very, very graphic description, a very vivid description of a demoniac nature person. But it is very relevant to modern times. I mean, also relevant in the past, but very relevant even today. It's not only talking about Ravana and Hiranyakashipu and all the other demons. It's talking about us. It's not also only talking about Hitler or Bin Laden. We all have a tiny Hitler, tiny small Bin Laden within our heart. So try to find that Hitler, Bin Laden in your heart and try to remove him. That is the purpose. Okay. So this is not just meant for the most worst people that you have heard of. It's meant for you or me, us. So 10, 11, and 12. 3 verses are describing the key components of demoniac nature. Again, we have discussed those 6 aspects, but this is describing it in a little bit more of a practical or attitude manner, like a sort of a little bit sequence I have stitched. So first thing is lust. Now, lust doesn't just mean lust as in like we think of lust as a bodily lust or like a sexual lust. That is not the meaning of the word kama. Kama just means a strong desire, almost to the point of going mad about it. Now, of course, it happens in that scenario quite a bit between opposite gender, but it could be so many other things. These days, it's about money, it's about power, it's about just so much control, how much you can control, for so many reasons. That's called lust, the extreme hankering for something. And Lord Krishna is, and I have quoted some of the Sanskrit as well, kamam ashritya dushpuram, means complete consciousness is invested. It is, dushpuram means it's insatiable, like uncontrollable. Kamam ashritya, your whole consciousness has taken shelter of this insatiable lust. You are in control of insatiable lust. Kama for what? We will see. Okay, so that is first thing. That strong lust is there. Nothing else makes sense unless I have that. It eats you from inside. Same thing again, or similar thing. Asha pasha shatair bandha. Pasha, what is pasha? Anybody knows? Hindi? Pasha means rope. Okay. Asha pash. Asha means desires. Shatair. Shat means what? Hundreds. Bandha or baddha. One is bound by ropes of hundreds of desires. So it's not just one, so many desires and sub-desires and sub-desires. So see in your life, what is driving you? Okay. And then kama upabhoga parama. Kama upbhog, sense gratification is supreme. This is the attitude. I just need to be, bindas, happy or comfortable. Once I have made this much money, I can retire. Now the whole consciousness is to reach that number. When I can retire and then, go travel places or whatever. Just personal sense gratification. Always desiring, the desire is always in sense enjoyment. Ihante kama bhoga artham, for the purpose, artha means for the purpose of bhoga, to enjoy all our desires. And what does that do? Now here comes the cost. The cost is, at the intermediate level, the cost is chintam aparimeyam, always in anxiety. Isn't it true? Always in anxiety. Ravana, for example, prime example, always he was in chinta. He was in anxiety. Ever since he got the message that Lord Ram has come to, the other side, they could see. He got so many messages. He was in this fear of his life. Hiranyakashipu, the one who had conquered the whole, even the Swarga planets, his chinta was, my son is not obeying me. He doesn't say what I want him to say. I have conquered the whole universe, but I couldn't conquer my son, Prahlad. And just anxiety eats us from within. And one continues to go on doing activities which even harm others. The Sanskrit here says, anyayena artha sanchayan. Anyaya. Directly the word anyaya is there. You do anyaya on others. Even exploit, harm others. There is this very, very beautiful verse in the Isopnisad, which says, Isha vashyam idam sarvam yad kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma gridha kasyas vidhanam. That everything one must understand, Isha vashyam idam sarvam yad kincha jagatyam jagat. This is from Isopnisad, verse number 1. That one must understand that everything belongs to Ishwar. Not to me, not to anybody else. We are all just caretakers. Okay, Isha vashyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha. That Lord, he is the owner, he has given quotas to his various children to use. He has given me my quota, somebody else his quota, somebody else his quota. One of the fundamental quotas that has been given is what? Their body. Isn't it? My body is my quota. Ma ghrida kasya svidhanam. Remain within your quota. Don't encroach on your brother's quota. As a father, wouldn't you do that? If you have multiple children and you divide your property in your will or your estate, would you want your children to fight? If you have said it's your property, right? Whatever they earn is their money. But if your property, you have divided it among your children, would you be happy to see them fighting over that? What right do they have to fight? It was your money to begin with, isn't it? So would God be happy if we are encroaching on each other's quota? No. So if the father sees one child encroaching on another's quota, what would he call that child? What would he call that activity? Anyaya, isn't it? Wouldn't you? It's very straightforward. It's not a rocket science. But that is what we do. All the time we do that. And that is demoniac nature. So we must stay within our quota. Now that's a longer discussion. What is our quota and all that? But at a fundamental level, you can understand what is our quota. Live within your quota. Live a honest, true life. So that is what it is. So these people, they exploit others. Anyayena artha sanchayan. And this goes on. Sometimes they think, oh, little bit, one time I will commit a crime. No, it doesn't work like that. It goes on for the whole life. Pralayantam upashritaha, till the end of pralaya. Not only their life, till the pralaya time it keeps going on. There is never an ending. So this goes on for their entire life. A very, very demoniac life they would lead. Okay. So please try to understand this and see the cost that you are paying. So the intermediate cost that is mentioned here is always remain in anxiety and how much it is degrading. So more costs will come up in the next few verses. Now these three verses, 13, 14, and 15 are giving a very graphic view of demoniac thinking. So please let me read it for you. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, persons are deluded by ignorance. So what are the main points? Total material consciousness. There is no God in the picture. It's a complete lawless situation. As if there is no enforcer of any goodness, any morality here. And they're always scheming, always thinking, manipulating. Their brain is always working how to work for my self-interests. And in the meantime, eliminating any roadblocks, other people by hook or by crook. No regard for others at all. Always in the consciousness of I and mine. And they do good activities, sometimes just for show, for lip service, to look good outside. That's a very important characteristic. So please see, this is very, very important. And it's not only for others, many times it's for yourself. Oh, I did this good thing. I go to the temple. I put some money in the donation box. As if you have purchased your license to do all criminal, sinful activities by putting little donation. You have wiped off all the sins. So that is a very big offense to Bhagavan, that you are going there to take a shower. You are treating the temple like a bathroom. That's what it is. You become dirty outside, you go to the bathroom, you take a shower, you come out clean. Same thing. You're doing sinful activities outside and hoping to go into the temple, do some, puja, this, that, put some donation, come out clean. So temple is a bathroom, is a toilet, isn't it? It's a great offense to Bhagavan. But that is what they try to do. And for some people, they don't even do that for that reason, as if like to ask Bhagavan, please remove my sins. It is simply for show. They don't even believe in Bhagavan. So they don't even put Bhagavan in the bathroom. They have no Bhagavan in there at all. In their whole sphere, there is no Bhagavan. Not even in the bathroom. So it's completely for show, just to look good to others. Familiar with this behavior? Okay. Now comes the slide about consequences, the fall down. This is very important. Now here, please pay attention to this. So even if you have found yourself in the previous few slides, hopefully this will, make one realize where one is heading. One is heading for the cliff. You're moving very fast, thinking you will go to, Disneyland, but there is a cliff and you're waiting to fall off the cliff. So please read these 5 verses, 16 to 20, and then we'll go through it. Take 2 minutes, read 16 through 20 translations. And for those who are fortunate to understand a little bit Sanskrit, please read the word by word meanings as well. They will open up more meaning for you. And if you don't know Sanskrit, that's totally fine. But for those that know that, make use of your knowledge of Sanskrit, or even good Hindi. If somebody knows, it's not that hard. Bhagavad Gita Sanskrit is more simple. So that's why I have shown you in many of the slides, I put in the Sanskrit and I make it understand. So make use of that ability, facility. It will open up more meaning for you. Okay. All right. So let's proceed. So 16 to 20. So in the 16th verse, Lord Krishna is saying, thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions. That's from the previous verses, if you remember. Chintam aparimeyam, that constant anxiety and bound by a network of illusions. Asha pasha shatah baddha, bound by hundreds of ropes of asha, of desires. They become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into hell. Directly the word is mentioned, patanti narake ashuchau. They go to narka, which means hell. Now hell, there are hellish planets. Definitely there are hellish planets. Like there is Swarga, there is Narka also. But it also means, or not, it also means it's not just a black and white, you'll go to Narka. There is, in the future verses, Lord Krishna will fall into hellish conditions. So it could mean that if there is some little hell, one could get a animal body which is very painful. Or one could get a human body also if there is some piety, or some, it could be in very, very destitute conditions. So all those things could happen, any of those things. So, but the point is one falls down. Now, the question is how fast one is falling down. What is the, slope? Is it a gradual slope? Did you fall down a little or did you fall down very quickly? That depends on the nature of the offense, the sinful act that one has done. So, patanti narake ashuchau. Of course, there are various narakas that are described for various types of sinful activities and activities out of repeated sinful sins. Then 17th. And another point in the 17th verse. Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only, without following any rules or regulations. So, dambhena avidhi purvakam, they perform sacrifices out of dambha. What was dambha? Which means that dambha was pretense, if you remember. You don't have something, but you're trying to show off. So in the same way, the sacrifice that you are doing, the previous line is yajante nama yagyaiste. They are performing yagya or some worship. Yajante means to perform worship. When you perform worship, there is supposed to be some piety, some good intention in the heart. So dambhena means you don't have that good intention, you're showing off. So you can show off for your car, for your house, for your status. You can also do dambha for your worship activities. Oh, I'm a very pious person. But in your heart, there is no piety, there is no good intention. That is called dambha. Dambha as applied to worship. So dambhena, and it is avidhi purvakam. That's completely the wrong way to do it. And also they don't follow any rules and regulations. Chalo bhai, haan, Pandit ji aa jao. Yes, do something. And okay, fine. All my sins have been removed. Thank you. See, I'm such a pious person. Completely lip service. So false show of goodness, pretense. Dambhena avidhi purvakam. And here is the big one. The real cause of fall down is harming devotees. And devotees are those who keep Krishna in their heart. So that is mentioned in or sort of Acharya's commentaries mention this, but here it is said that in the 18th verse that bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They become envious of Bhagavan, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others. And especially Bhagavan resides literally in the body. Bhagavan as Paramatma resides in the body of everyone. But as Bhagavan, he resides in the bodies of his devotees. And blaspheme against the real religion. So these people, if you see all the demons, and then, so when somebody just harms another person, then Bhagavan, Vishnu or Krishna lets Yamaraj take care of it. That's the police. He's the chief police superintendent of Bhagavan, Yamaraj. Okay, law and order problem, he will take care. Like, what you call home minister. The Yamaraj is home minister. But devotees, Krishna personally he takes care, or he tackles those demons who harm the devotees. And sooner or later, a sinful person, he may not even know, or knowingly, he may offend a devotee. Sooner or later, it will happen. It will definitely happen. It cannot be that a completely sinful person is only offending those who are not devotees of Krishna or Bhagavan. He's become so blind then, and when devotee is offended, then Bhagavan does not take it lightly at all. Then he takes matters in his own hands. And then the consequences are way more serious than Yamaraj. Way more serious. And that is what happens. And every demon that is mentioned has offended some devotee of Bhagavan or other. Look at Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad, considered he is known as Bhaktaraj. Bhaktaraj means king amongst devotees. He offended him. He tried to kill him in so many ways. In spite of being at the bodily level, his father, he tried to kill. Every single situation. Ravan, he, kidnapped Mother Sita. So every single demon has offended some devotee, and then God takes matters in his own hands. There is this very beautiful story of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. Now, Durvasa Muni is no demon, but that is what happens out of his ahankar. So all of you know that story of Ambarish Maharaj? Anybody doesn't know? Okay, so a couple of people don't know. So let me share. It's a very, very instructive story. That one time Ambarish Maharaj is a great devotee of Bhagwan Vishnu. Great devotee, to the extent that Bhagwan Vishnu said, I am going to send my Sudarshan Chakra to you to protect you always. My Sudarshan Chakra will protect you. He gifted his own personal Sudarshan Chakra to Ambarish Maharaj as a protector. One time, Durvasa Muni, who is a great yogi, he's not a devotee, he's a yogi. He has got all these yogic powers. So he came to, he's a Brahmana, he comes to Ambarish Maharaj. And Ambarish Maharaj was doing a fast, a upavas. So when a guest comes, you have to feed the guest, isn't it? So he welcomes Durvasa Muni very nicely. And then Durvasa Muni says, I will go take a bath in the river and come. You keep the food ready, I will eat. He says, okay, definitely, please come. So Durvasa Muni goes to the river to take a bath. And there he gets delayed. And in the meantime, Ambarish Maharaj, he's doing his fast very, very sincerely. And the time is coming, the muhurta is coming to break the fast. That means you have to also, part of doing the fast properly is to break it at the right time. So he's supposed to eat something to break the fast at the right time. And that fast was not like a one-day fast. It was a 1 year-long fast. All right. So he had to, and Durvasa Muni is not coming. Now you cannot also eat before your guest. That is also an offense. You must only eat after you let the guest eat. So he was in this dilemma, what to do. And he consulted his Brahmins. And they said, just take a sip of water. It is equal to breaking the fast. It is also equal to not eating anything. So Durvasa Muni will not be, or you won't cause any offense to the guest. He said, okay. He sipped 1 drop of water. Durvasa Muni came to know by his yogic power that he has sipped 1 drop of water. When he came, he became so angry. How could you offend me? I am your guest. You ate before me. You deserve to die. He took a hair from his head, chanted some mantra, and that hair he threw it on the ground, and that hair became a big demon and attacked Ambarish Maharaj to kill him. He said to the demon, go kill this man. Can you imagine? What just because he drank 1 drop of water, now he deserves to die. So much anger, in a fit of anger. And Ambarish Maharaj didn't even move 1 inch. He said, okay, this is my destiny, simplicity. No problem. But the Sudarshan Chakra was watching. Sudarshan Chakra immediately killed the demon. And then it ran after Ambarish Maharaj. Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni is running around the universe. He goes to first Brahmaji. First, he tries to outrun the Sudarshan Chakra. Who can outrun Sudarshan Chakra? Not possible. Then he goes to Brahmaji. He says, sorry, I cannot do anything. Sudarshan Chakra is way too powerful for me. Then he goes to Shivji. Shivji also says, I cannot do anything. This Sudarshan Chakra, only the real owner of Sudarshan Chakra is who? Lord Vishnu. Go to him. He had so much strength that he could go to Vaikuntha. So he went to Vaikuntha to pray to Lord Vishnu. Please recall, stop your Sudarshan Chakra. Okay. And what does Lord Vishnu say? So these are some of the most important and most celebrated verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. So let me just show you. This is one of the most celebrated sections of Srimad Bhagavatam. You should read. I have given a whole series of this Ambarish Maharaj. The lectures are there on YouTube. You can listen. But let me go to this section. It is in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 4, verse number 63 onwards. Please, you must memorize these verses. These verses will save your life one day. So, this is Lord Vishnu telling Durvasa Muni, Aham bhakta paradhino hi aswatantra iva dvija sadhubhir grasta hridayo bhaktair bhaktajana priya. What it means is that Bhagwan is saying, Aham bhakta paradhino. मैं तो भक्तों के पराधीन हूं. I am not even independent. He aswatantra. I am aswatantra means I am not independent. Independence movement, Indian independence, we need freedom. Bhagwan is saying, I don't have freedom. I am captivated by my devotees. Bhakta paradhino. I am completely captivated by my devotees. I am not independent to act as I want. Sadhubhir grasta hridayo. I am captivated where? What is my cage? What is captivating me? The heart of my devotees. That is my jail in which I am captured. And what to speak of my devotees, even I am living in the heart of my devotees' devotee. Those who are dear to my devotees are also dear to me. So not only one should offend devotees, but even devotees of devotees. So one can say, okay, Ram Bhakta, I will not offend. What about Hanuman Bhakta? Hanuman Bhakta is more dear to Ram than direct Bhakta of Ram. Are you following? This is directly from Srimad Bhagavatam. Direct verses I am showing you with Sanskrit. There is no doubt this is law. This is the topmost law book. And I'm reading the direct law from here. Directly it is coming from mouth of Bhagavan. So this 9.4.63 is a super, super important verse. Okay. Please take note of this. And then he says, finally, that I have one opinion, one upay. He says, I will give you a upay. Where is that? Let me search. Chapter 4, advanced view. Anyway, yeah, upayam kathayishyami. एक उपाय बता रहा हूं तुमको. I cannot help you, but I am telling you the solution. And what is the upay? He says that you go to Ambarish Maharaj. That is your solution. By offending Ambarish Maharaj, you have acted with self-envy. Therefore, you should go to him immediately without a moment's delay. So this should be the solution. The Sanskrit is, where is that? There is a word which says immediately. Yeah. Yeah, yahi ma chiram, without delay. Chira means delay or long time. You say chira ayu, chiranjeevi. So ma chiram means no delay. Immediately you go. And then if he wants, he can forgive you. And then he says, for a Brahmana, austerity, yeah. You should therefore go immediately. There is another word here. Anyway, the son of Maharaj, Nabhaga, I wish you all good fortune. If you can satisfy Maharaj Ambarish, then there will be peace for you. Anyway, so this is the story of Ambarish Maharaj. Then Durvasa Muni goes to Ambarish Maharaj, falls at his feet. Ambarish Maharaj then forgives. There is more to it. Then we see the quality of a devotee where Ambarish Maharaj is ready to forgive, but Sudarshan Chakra is not forgiving. He says, this person has offended you. How can I forgive? You are being too easy on him. Sudarshan Chakra is not ready to back off. Are you following? Then Ambarish Maharaj says that I will, if you want, you take my life, spare this fellow. When he says like that, not exactly, I am paraphrasing, he basically fasts until death. He says that, I will fast. Please forgive him. That same fast which caused Durvasa Muni to curse him or to kill him, he is fasting for his life. So that is the quality of a devotee of Ambarish Maharaj. Anyway, so back to our discussion. So by offending a devotee, one gets into extremely, extremely serious trouble. And in that case, what happens? Lord Krishna says that I throw them, not Yamaraj. I throw them. He says, Kshipami ajasram ashubhan asureva eva yonishu. Kshipami, ami means I do it. Kshipa means to throw. Kshipami means I throw. I personally take care of them. So those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast them in the ocean of material existence into various demoniac species of life. And then in the last 20th verse, he says, attaining repeated birth among such species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. So there is no hope ever, literally ever. Eternal. Now there is hope. This is not about eternal hellish condition. This is not about eternal hell. There is a recovery path. And we just saw what is the recovery path? By the mercy of the devotee. When that devotee shows his compassion, kindness, then one can recover. So there is a recovery, but it's not going to be from Bhagavan's side. Bhagavan is so pissed off, so upset at the demon who has offended his devotee that Bhagavan is not going to show kindness. Okay? The devotee, when he shows kindness, then Bhagavan relents, because Bhagavan is not independent. He is dependent on his devotee. Whatever devotee says, Bhagavan has to do. His love for his devotee is more than his anger over the demons. Are you following? So this is the understanding. Wait, what happened? Okay, then Lord Krishna is summarizing this whole situation, where he says that there are 3 gates to hell. So 21 and 22 are very important verses. Now this is again back to the philosophical concept. Trividham narakasyedam dvaram nashanam atmanaha. So Trividham, there are 3 gates to narakasya edam dvaram. Dvara means gate to narka. So there are 3 gates to narka. What are those? Kama, krodha, tatha lobha. Tasmad etad trayam tyajet. Therefore, stay away, tyajet. Give up or stay as far away as possible from these three. What happened in case of Durvasa Muni? Krodha. Impulse, anger. How come he drank one drop of water? Just over a drop of water, he got so angry. Almost cost him his life. Not because he wanted to take the devotee's life. Sudarshan Chakra, which is none different from Lord Vishnu. There is no difference between Vishnu and his paraphernalia. So Sudarshan Chakra is Vishnu. He got so angry. Okay. So, and then Lord Krishna says in the next verse that one who avoids these three gates ultimately is acting in self-interest. Demons think they are acting in self-interest, correct? But there is a higher self-interest. What is the higher self-interest? Not for the body, but for the soul. Obviously, you must act in self-interest. Yes, there is self-interest. No, there is no harm in self-interest. But self-interest of whom? Of the body and the senses, or of the soul. So one must act in self-interest, but of the soul. Then one attains paramam, tato yati param gatim. One attains the highest destination. Okay. All right. So just a quick reminder. This is a very, I like this slide, which is showing how these are the three most important. Kama, krodha, tatha, lobha. So 16.21. This is the verse. Kama, krodha, lobha. So what is the relationship between them? Kama is the source of all problems. Our attachments, our kama, lust, insatiable lust, extreme form of attachment. It leads to lobha or krodha, and it also leads to bhaya, but we will deal with that later. The two most important things kama leads to is lobha and krodha. How it leads? When you don't get what you want. You want something, that is kama, isn't it? That is desires, strong desires, and when you don't get it, when those desires are unfulfilled, then what happens? Krodha. Like Hiranyakashipu, he was telling his son, say that I am God. That is the only thing he wanted his son to say. You should say Vishnu is not, he is not God, I am God. And he broke the pillar in anger. Of course, because Prahlad said Vishnu is in the pillar. And really? Let me smash. He smashed the pillar in his anger. And who came out from there? Nrsimhadev. Similarly, Ravana was so angry. He wanted Mother Sita to submit to him. But he could not touch her without her acceptance. That much power Mother Sita had. So he was so angry because of that. How this one lady is more powerful than me. So when you don't get what you want, it leads to krodha. And when you get it, then it leads to lobha, because it's not like you just get it and you're done. Now karma is gone. Once you get one, then you want the next. You get that, then you want the next. Then when you get that, you want the next. What is that called? Lobha, greed. And both are destructive. Both are destructive. And along with lobha, there is bhaya. What you got, you will lose. So much bhaya we have. That's why we purchase so much insurance. Fear of loss. But ultimately, there is no insurance. You can say there is life insurance. Life insurance is for other people, not for you. If you have to die, you will die. Others will benefit from your life insurance. So life insurance doesn't mean it is that your life is insured. Car insurance, fine. If your car breaks, they will give you a new car. But life insurance doesn't mean if you lose your life, they will give you a new life. Isn't it? That is bhaya. Always in bhaya. Some pain is happening. Oh, MRI scan. What is there? Is it okay? Everything is okay? Everything is okay. Just some pain. No cancer, thank God. Always in fear. Okay. Last two verses, 23 and 24. Most important. This is the essence of the whole chapter. I wouldn't say this is the essence, but this is the foundation. Is scriptures, Shastra. So let us read these two verses. Yah Shastra vidhim utsrijya vartate kamakarataha na sa siddhim avapnoti na sukham na param gatim. So let me just build out this slide so you can see here. Okay. Scriptures are the fundamental basis. They are the ultimate tiebreaker. Tiebreaker, we can say, if you have doubts, scriptures will provide the answer. It's the final word. It actually resolves the doubts. Otherwise, our minds are very crazy. We can argue either way. Take all the, like I said in the beginning of the class, there are so many important or sort of these issues, social issues. Shastra will give the final word. Do this. This is right, this is wrong. Just follow that. Therefore, you must know Shastra, or you must know somebody who knows Shastra. That's the importance of Guru. You cannot know all the Shastra. So whenever there is a doubt which is important for your life, go consult the Guru. What is the right thing to do from a spiritual perspective? They will advise. At least to some basic level, you must know Shastra. Otherwise, you must know somebody who knows Shastra. And then go and serve them. Do seva to them. Hokat mein nahi milega. So you have to do some service. They will never take money for remuneration. They are not a, shop. Spiritual doctor. $20 per advice per hour. There is no such thing. You don't find a guru like that. You have to do seva, and they will, out of their love, give the proper advice. But that advice will be based on Shastra. So, yah Shastra vidhim utsrijya. Utsrijya means give up. So, those Shastra vidhim utsrijya, those who have given up the vidhi, the processes, procedures, the knowledge in the Shastra, vartate kama karataha, and they do the activities karataha based on kama, based on their desires. Are humko chahiye, hum karenge. I want it, I will do. Mere baap ka raj hai. I am the boss, I will do whatever I want. What is Shastra? Throw the Shastra out of the window. I am the boss. My word is Shastra. So that's how they will say. So that is vartate kama karataha. Their whole activities are governed by kama, by their own self-interest, sense gratification, desires. Nasa siddhim avapnoti. They will never get any siddhi. They will not make any spiritual progress. Na sukham. They will never get any happiness also. Temporary happiness they may get, not long-term happiness. Na sukham, na param gatim. Definitely they will not make any spiritual progress. Tasmat, next verse. Any verse that starts with Tasmat is very important. And usually it is one of the, final verses of the section or the chapter or something. Tasmat verses are very important. Tasmat Shastram Pramanamte. Always go with Shastra Praman. Shastra will give the final evidence, has the final word. Shastram Pramanamte. Karya Akarya Vyavasthitau. What to do? Karya Akarya. What not to do? Vyavasthitau. It will tell. Are you following? The Shastra is the final law book. Tasmat Shastram Pramanamte Karya Akarya Vyavasthitau Gyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartum Yaharhasi. Therefore, Gyatva, by knowing the Shastra Vidhana, the vidhi, the process, the rules in the Shastra, rules and regulations, Vidhanoktam, as dictated in the, or as mentioned in the Shastra, Karma Kartum, must do your activity. Don't do activities which are against or not recommended or not aligned with Shastric guidance. That is the end of the chapter. So, and all the Shastras will tell, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. At a very detailed level, it can be, you can understand. And when the Shastra, what it means by Shastra, ultimate Shastra is the Vedas. But especially for Kali Yuga, the Vedas are very big. So ultimately, the three main branches coming out of the Vedas are three. Bhagavad Gita, which we are studying, Upanishads, which are also very voluminous. 108 Upanishads are there, out of which 11 are considered most prominent. 11 are Isopnisad, Mandukya Upanishad, Keno Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, Kathopanishad, Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, Shvetashvatara Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, and a couple of more which I am forgetting. Okay. But there are 108 principal Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutras, which are also known as Brahma Sutras, which were referred to in chapter 13. So these are the principal body of Shastra. But for Vaishnavas, the essence of all these is captured in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, in a very nice way, in a very easy to understand way, captures the essence of all of this. So that is what we call as Shastra. When we say Shastra, you say, which Shastra? Give me the PDF. Give me the book. I should be able to put my finger on which Shastra, because Shastra is a huge library. So I'm giving you the name, the exact name. Follow these Shastra. And the result will be Param Gatim. Okay. So that is 16th chapter. So we will not start 17th chapter today. I have to go also a little early. But are there any questions, comments, anything? So if let's quickly summarize the chapter. Maybe you will come up with some questions during the summary. So the chapter started with divine qualities. 26 divine qualities were mentioned. Then 6 demoniac qualities. So we must adopt divine qualities and avoid demoniac qualities. What is the purpose of these qualities? Who can tell? The main purpose of these qualities.
Self-realization.
No. That's
To advance spiritually.
okay. Something little more accurate.
Give guidance on what to do and not do.
Okay. What for?
Ultimately for Paramgati, to reach God.
It is the best platform for Krishna Bhakti. It supports these good and bad qualities are the best support structure for Krishna Bhakti. You will not go to Krishna without Krishna Bhakti. Just by developing good qualities, you will not go to Krishna. Somebody said, I am vegetarian. Srila Prabhupada said, even a goat is vegetarian. But goat is not going to go to Krishna, na? Even a pigeon or a rabbit is also vegetarian. So what is the difference? Then you are a rabbit, like a rabbit. It's a good thing to be vegetarian, but that alone will not take us to Krishna. Krishna Bhakti will take us to Krishna. So that was the main purpose of the good and bad qualities. Okay. Then Lord Krishna describes in a very graphic way about good and bad qualities, how it is our strong hankering sense desires, lust, that propels us, that completely occupies our consciousness all the time, to the extent when we do injustice, anyaya to others. And that is when we go down the path of hellish conditions. Instead of going up, we go down. And another important point was, in that process, if we end up offending a devotee of Bhagavan, then we are playing with fire. That is a very, very serious offense. Then Bhagavan takes matters in his own hands. He takes the matter from the home ministry into his own hands. And then the recovery is very, very problematic. One has to go very sincerely, ask for forgiveness from the devotee, and then there is a chance for recovery. Otherwise, Bhagavan will not show any compassion, because if one has offended a dear devotee of Bhagavan. So one must lead a very, very dharmic life, and then on top of that, a life of bhakti. And what are the three gates to hell? Who can tell?
Anger, greed, and lust.
Okay, very nice. Sanskrit?
Kama, krodha,
Kama, krodha, lobha. Very nice. And what is one more angle which is not part of this verse? Bhaya. Very nice. So one must always remember. So you may not realize that the kama is there, but how many of you realize that there is bhaya, lobha, and krodha in your life? Can you see there is bhaya in your life? Some pain happens, first thing MRI scan, remember? That is bhaya. Then krodha, very straightforward, and lobha, greed. Always wanting the next thing. It's never enough. So these are the three gates to hell: kama, krodha, tatha, lobha. And finally, importance of Shastra. The Shastra clarifies all doubts that anyone may have. What is right, what is wrong, what is sinful, what is not sinful. You cannot decide. I mean, you can decide. Some things are very straightforward. Don't kill anyone. Okay, fine. You don't need Shastra, let us say. Some cases you need Shastra. There are so many other branches of society which believe it's perfectly okay to kill another. I mean, we are already in humans. We are killing humans. Legal. Just that they are, still in the womb. As long as they are inside the womb, it's okay to kill. You just cannot kill once they come out. That is legal. What to speak of killing animals? So Shastra tells exactly what is right and wrong. We can try to tell, but we will go wrong. Ultimately, everything else is man-made laws. So we should not rely for our spiritual growth on man-made laws. We have to rely on God's laws for our spiritual growth. And fortunately, God's laws don't conflict with your regular laws. Hopefully, we are all living in a free country where there is freedom to practice our religion, and we can happily practice our Vaishnava Dharma, Sanatan Dharma, while being good citizens of the country. They don't conflict yet. Maybe future Kali Yuga, that will conflict. Like Hiranyakashipu's time, it conflicted. The people were not able to follow their Vaishnava Dharma. Hiranyakashipu would come and kill you. So luckily, that is not the situation right now. It may happen in the future. I mean, it's happening in some other countries. I know, for example, in China, you cannot do openly, you cannot follow any, you cannot have faith in God. So there are such places. Okay. So while the opportunity is there, make the best use of it and make spiritual progress. So that is the fundamental message. Okay. Last and final call. Any questions? Okay. Great. Everything is very clear. That is very nice. Continue to read Bhagavad Gita. Next week, I don't know if we are meeting or not. My wife is not here today, so she manages the schedule, but most likely we will meet and we will cover chapter 17. If we are not meeting due to some reason, you will get the message. Thank you so much. Have a great week ahead. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantharaj Shri Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.